church. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've been able to hunker down with your families and experience tenderness in your time in the Word and time of prayer. Really excited for tonight at 6 p.m. where we get to join Pastor Tommy live and just really get to join one another as a collective in praying and seeking the Lord. And I wanted to talk to you about seeking the Lord. And I wanted to specifically talk to you about honest conversations with God. I wanted to talk to you about maybe those conversations with God that are hard to have. You see, John the Baptist, when he was in prison, and he was in prison for speaking the truth. And at this point in time, John the Baptist reached out to Jesus. He was in a really dark place. He was experiencing a lot of doubt. And he asked Jesus this question. He said, "Are you the Messiah, or should we be looking for someone else?" And this coming from John the Baptist, the one called by God to pave the way, the one called by God to make way, the path straight for the Messiah. Man, coming from John the Baptist, that's brutal. But John the Baptist was able to come to Jesus with this honest question, an honest conversation. Now, I'm going to be real with you for a moment. You see, I've had a lot of hard conversations with God lately, especially in the midst of the coronavirus, in the midst of all the chaos that's happening. See, my wife and I were expecting our firstborn son soon. And I've had a lot of really hard conversations with God about, man, what world is my son being born into? Lord, what are you doing? God, how are you moving? How are you working? These are the type of conversations that are really hard to have with the Lord, but are so necessary. You see, David, in most of his Psalms, was able to bring this honesty. He was able to bring this heart that was truly seeking God in his most vulnerable state. And I want to encourage you guys to do that. As Pastor Daniel likes to say, you need to bring the real you to the real Jesus. The real you to the real Jesus, your real feelings. Really how you're dealing with the chaos around you, how you're dealing with your anxiety. God wants to meet you there. God truly cares about the full spectrum of emotions that you're going through. So don't try and mask any negative emotions you have with any sort of Christian fluff or any sort of cliches that we like to give one another. In that time that you have alone with God, give him the real questions. Give him the real things you're struggling with. Give him the real you. And do you know what you're going to find out? You're going to find a tender, loving answer from a Jesus who is acquainted with your sorrow, from a Jesus who is acquainted with your humanity, and who knows you and loves you anyways. And so guys, I encourage you, have honest conversations with God today. Have honest conversations with God in the coming week when you're feeling anxious and afraid and alone. God wants the real you, and he wants real conversations with you. Love you guys. Can't wait to join you later tonight.